Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing, and today from Hasbro and Takara Tomy in the Transformers Generations line, we are featuring Transformers Legacy Evolution Tarn. And this is Tarn from the comic book universe. Alright, so I'm going to apologize in advance. This will not be a full, thorough review. I will most likely not be transforming this figure on camera. Just because whenever I transform these figures live on camera, I'm horrible at it. It falls apart and the video ends up being like 30 minutes. So if anything, we're just going to unbox this, take a look at the figure. And this video is more so to promote that the figure is actually out right now. So if you're not aware, you know, this guy's actually out in retail at this moment. And I got this at my local Target. All right, so let's get started. First off, we have Tarn in the modern Legacy Evolution packaging, windowless design. The figure looks fantastic. I'm a huge fan of the character Tarn from the comic books. So for me to get this is very exciting. On the side of the box, a nice illustration of Tarn and then a close-up portrait of his face. Opposite end, we got the graphic that we've seen many times before. And here is Tarn. We have his robot mode and his alt mode, which is kind of like a tank, and it transforms within 27 steps. And it features Evo Fusion with his double barrel fusion cannon. Tarn in the comic books worships Megatron, and much like Megatron, he has a fusion cannon. But unlike Megatron, he has two fusion cannons, which is really awesome. So let's get started and get this guy unboxed. So like I said, I apologize in advance. This will not be a full, thorough review. You know, I'm just going to take this guy out right now. We're not going to do the full transformation just because I'm terrible at doing that stuff live on camera for the first time. Generally, like if I buy a Transformers toy, I like to fiddle around with it and, you know, get the hang of it before actually transforming it. And when I do these things live, it just falls apart. So alright, so first off, we have the instruction manual. And I hate these things. They're hard to, for me, they're hard to read. I grew up in the 80s. In the 80s, we had those really nice full-color pamphlets. And the black and white stuff is awesome too, but for me, I have a hard time interpreting what's going on. And this is 27 steps. And if I did this live on camera, I'd probably fall apart, so... Alright, so this is what I'm here for, is the actual figure itself. It looks like Tarn. My one complaint, if anything, is that from the profile, the figure is very flat. He doesn't have a whole lot of dimension to him. But I'm very grateful nonetheless just to get a figure of this really popular character from the IDW comic books. And we'll talk about the comic books in a little bit. But for now, let's just unbox the figure and take a look at the robot mode at the very least. And I know this is a character fans have been wanting for a long time. There has been a couple of official Tarn figures, but not from Hasbro. They're officially licensed. There's a Flame Toys premium Tarn action figure, which if you're familiar with Flame Toys, their product is amazing and it's non-transforming and it runs like hundreds of dollars. There's an official model kit by MU Models. It's a metal crafting kit of Tarn, and that's officially licensed also. And if you're into third-party Transformers, there's multiple third-party Tarn figures. I think there's the Masterminds Creations called Tour figure. I want to say I think Iron Factory might have a third-party Tarn figure, and I think that's a combiner. But if you want one that actually transforms, that's actually produced by Takara Tomy and Hasbro, this is, I think, your only option. Alright, so he comes with a mount, I believe, for the double barrel fusion cannon, which we see right here. And then we have both cannons. They're actually different in design, and I'm not sure which one's the top mounting one and which one's the bottom. But in all honesty, right now I don't care. I just want to put this thing together. So I believe you just, put the fusion cannons anywhere in place on this mount, and then this plugs into his forearm. I think you have two different options. I'm just gonna go with the higher one. And we have Tarn here in all his robot glory. So if you're familiar with the character from the comic books, the Decepticon symbol on his face is actually a mask, disguising his real identity. Tarn's also been featured in some of the animation, I think from like a year or two ago. I can't remember. But the portrayal of the character was very different than from the comic books. In the comic books, Tarn is leader of the Decepticon Justice Division. It's a group of ruthless Decepticons who hunt down other Decepticons who might have gone AWOL or betrayed the Decepticon cause. The figure seems to be hitting all the important landmarks in terms of his physical features from the comic book. Besides the mask, he has those two large antennas on his back. He has the treads on his upper arm. Of course, he has the double barrel fusion cannon. The color scheme looks to be identical to the comic book. He has the gold knee pads and the really long feet. Really well done sculpting. It's a great figure. I mean, for this price point, I know that the price increase on Transformers over the last few years has been a little bit painful. But, to get an official Tarn figure for like, I think $30+ is all right, considering that the third-party figures go for like, twice or anywhere between twice to 3 times that amount. But really well done, beautiful detailing. In terms of the figure's articulation, when he's in robot mode, his head rotates like so, looks down a little, looks up, arms rotate. They bend at the elbow swivel. My joints feel a little bit loose, which kind of concerns me somewhat because, I'm not sure how, flimsy or loose these limbs will be like in a year's time. With some Transformers figures, if you're a long-time collector, you'll have cases where you might not even handle a figure and the joints are all tight and you might put it on display, then come back to the figure a year later, and then for whatever reason, the joints might have loosened up. So it kind of concerns me a little bit that some of these joints are a little bit loose. The tolerances aren't as tight as I'd like. Swivel at the waist, legs kick up, knee bends, and he has articulated ankles that only fold forward, not back. So it's a pretty standard articulation scheme for, I'm guessing, I think a 7-inch action figure. He looks fantastic. He looks like he really leapt off the pages of the comic book. And speaking of the comic book, here is Transformers: More Than Meets the Eye, Volume 2. And as you can see on the cover, we have Tarn showcased on the front, as illustrated by artist Alex Milne, who I believe designed the character. And I think this is Tarn's first appearance in the comic book. He has the scar over the one side of the mask, and they kind of go over. I think, what the deal is with the Decepticon Justice Division in this introduction. They're hunting down rogue Decepticons, and here he is. And here's a comparison. So they do a pretty solid job of recreating the 2D image in the comic book and bring it to life in 3D. If you're a huge fan of the character, much like myself, this figure is really a blessing. It's been years, since they introduced Tarn in the comic books. So it's finally cool to finally get him in action figure form, in an official capacity. So this is a great book too. If you're a comic book reader, I can't stress this enough. I know that IDW is losing the comic book license, I think, either this year or they might already have lost the license, but More Than Meets the Eye, the entire run by IDW, including the sequel, Lost Light, is worth the read. It's amazing. One of my favorite books ever. And still on the subject of Tarn, here is a custom Tarn I made years ago. There was not a third-party Tarn available yet, and I took it upon myself to make a custom Tarn. Much like, the official one, he has the double barrel fusion cannon. He kind of has the similar color scheme, the gold knee pads, the gray and the purple, the tank treads. And here's my custom box. It has the image from the trade paperback and the comic book. And then over here, it includes a free MP3 download code for Empyrean Suite. If you read the comic book, that's like Tarn's favorite song. And then here's a quote from the comic book. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the character, and when there wasn't an official Tarn figure, I took it upon myself to make a custom, which is this guy right here. And before the Hasbro one, we got this some years ago. If you're a third-party collector, you might recognize the Mastermind Creations reformatted R19 Couture figure. This is a third-party figure. It's not officially licensed at all. And this is also Tarn. Let me see if I could get this thing open. It's been some years since I took this out. So this is not an official product. This is a third-party product produced by Mastermind Creations. I believe they're based out of China. This is the alt mode for their third-party Tarn. I'm not going to transform this right now, but I just wanted to take this out to give you an idea of what the figure's like. And if you've never seen a third-party figure before, this is kind of a good introduction. So a third-party figure is not licensed at all by Hasbro. Transformers are very, very popular in Asia, and there are a lot of independent companies that will take, popular characters like Megatron, Optimus, and whatnot, and they'll do their spin on the characters. Here is the robot mode of the third-party Tarn. It comes with a trading card. Here's the instruction manual for the Couture figure that we have right here. Beautiful photography showing you what the robot mode looks like once transformed. And then there's a comic book with their interpretation of Tarn and the story. And this is what the third-party figure looks like when it's transformed. Again, you can see how it really recreates the look of the 2D comic book one. And here's it compared to the Hasbro one. This figure, when it's transformed in robot mode, is considerably a lot larger than this one here. I believe this guy comes in at maybe like, I think 8.5 to maybe like 9.5 inches, I believe. And lastly, we have this. I showcased this a few weeks ago. This was a Christmas gift for my brother. This is an official licensed product, but it's not made by Hasbro. But they do have Hasbro's blessing. This is made by MU Models. This is a metal crafting kit, and this is Transformers Tarn. But this is actually a model kit, and you assemble it out of these very thin metal sheets, and then you get this 7-inch tall Tarn figure that I believe is not articulated. It's more so like a metal statue. And this is something I'm probably going to put together in the next few weeks, and once I complete it, I'll show it off. But yeah, this is an official Hasbro licensed product, but it's not made by Hasbro. Alright, so this kind of wraps up this video. It's like I said, I just wanted to more so just bring awareness to you. If you've been waiting for this figure, he's out. I got mine at my local Target. He's available on Amazon, but I think Amazon's release date isn't until March 1st. So this is something that's out in the wild now. So if you're on the hunt, good luck. I think it's well worth the wait and well worth the purchase. All right, so let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.